so he does like Alzheimer's studies for people, so it's not like how are you?
Good, how are you? Thanks for coming. This is David.
Sam Tan, I run the nursery school next door.
Okay, nice to meet you. I'm back to my.
They're gonna jockey your cars around?
What's that?
Got somebody to jockey your cars around?
Oh, yeah. Cheers, cheers. Scott, you ready? Ready? Okay.
Good evening and welcome to the Planning Advisory Board meeting of October 18th, 2023. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance led by Board Member Cliff Jabina.
Thank you. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, good evening. Secretary Byrne, please call the roll.
Chairman Stanko.
Here.
Member DiLeonardo.
Here.
Member Chabina.
Here.
Member Warner.
Here.
Member Castellane.
Here.
Member Byrne is here. Chairman, you have a quorum.
Okay, good evening, and again, we have, the format for the meeting will be presentations from the applicants. We have two agenda items this evening. We'll have questions and comments from the board members, and then anyone wishing to speak on the application may address the board. And anyone who speaks, we would ask you to use the podium and state your name and address for the record. First item is 1170 Hicksville Road, Massapequa, New York, 11758. The applicant is seeking a site plan approval from the Planning Advisory Board in accordance with the town's site design standards. This site plan application involves the maintenance of a 7.9-foot by 10.1-foot vestibule and reconfiguration of the parking lot, with associated site improvements for a martial arts tenancy. The proposed use of the subject property is permitted use to Chapter 246, Table 5.2 of the Code of the Town of Oyster Bay. Good evening.
Good evening, Chairman, members of the board. For the record, my name is Doug Castellano from North Coast Civil, 39 West Main Street, Oyster Bay, New York. So the property is a 0.39 acre size parcel located in the NB or Neighborhood Business Zoning District. The site is currently occupied by a one-story dwelling with a footprint of approximately 2,400 square feet and an asphalt driveway. The site also has some existing plantings and grass areas that are, some of it's overgrown, some of it's bare, but it really doesn't meet Town of Oyster Bay's current standards. The scope of the project is to renovate this existing one-story dwelling to become a martial arts studio. We're also adding a small parking area in the front. We'll also bring the site up to Town of Oyster Bay's current planning standards. Just getting into some of the specifics of the site. So the parking area is more or less to be centered on the property that allows for buffers on either side. It's also pushed towards the front end. There's no wraparounds towards the back end, so you won't have any parking in the rear areas towards neighbors in the back. There's an existing curb cut along Hicksville Road that's actually, we're replacing it, widening it to 30 feet. That allows for two-way traffic. Then the 24-foot aisle is kept throughout the parking area. The parking area will have a total of 20 parking spaces. All parking stalls comply with the town's setback and dimensional regulations. There is one variance required for the project. It's solely for the parking count, not the actual size or setbacks of any of the parking stalls. We'll have to go to the zoning board next to address that, but there is one variance required with the scope.
So you're short parking?
We're short on parking, so
How many are you short?
yeah, so the required is 36, and we're proposing 20, so we're short by 16.
Okay, that's another,
Right,
that's
that's
another
another
one.
hearing.
Okay, go
Yes,
ahead.
understood. Just getting to some of the grading and drainage, so the site is relatively flat. There wasn't a whole heck of a lot of regrading to be done, but we did flatten out some areas, just kind of smooth it out to allow for proper flow and runoff into subsurface dry wells. And again, with the engineering of the site, we made sure that no runoff flows to adjacent properties or roadways, so everything will be maintained on site. I'll just kind of flip ahead to the landscaping plan. Just 2 more pages. So as you can see, there's a substantial amount of landscaping that we're proposing along the outsides of the property. Again, like I stated before, there's buffers along all sides of the parking area. We're proposing a number of arborvitaes. I think 70 is the total number. And the arborvitaes wrap all the way around the site, coming back this side, and that's going to densely screen the parking area so that it's not visible from neighboring sites, or really the roadway too. And going along with that, Oyster Bay does require some shade-friendly trees, 4 Japanese Zelkovas. Those are, a larger caliper tree, but again, it's native to the area, just to add to some of the screening and diversity of plantings. Some smaller flowers and other evergreen shrubs mixed in, but again, it's well screened on all sides, and the intent is to keep it that way. Lastly is really just the lighting plan, so let me flip one more time. So we are proposing some light fixtures. It's a residential area. We kept that in mind. All light fixtures the poles are below 14 feet, and there's some wall packs that'll just be on the house. Those are, 8 feet just above a door. We did provide photometrics. All the fixtures that we're proposing are dark sky compliant. They'll have short cutoff bulbs. And then the photometrics kind of just portray that no light is spilling onto adjacent properties. 0 at all of the property lines, so you won't be having that the flood of lumens to the neighboring sites. Lastly, I just want to kind of touch on some of the approvals that we went through. Hicksville Road is a state road, New York 107, so we did have to submit plans to the New York State DOT. Upon their review, they did have some comments. We addressed most of them and actually got through their review process back in May of 2023. They granted approval for the new curb cut and adjustments to just the sidewalk in the front, some details and things like that the DOT likes. But again, they did grant approval. That approval was submitted to planning. We also worked through the town's Department of Environmental Resources, addressed all of their comments, as well as the planning department. So that kind of wraps up the bulk of the work. If there's any questions about the specifics.
Sure. Mr. Byrne, do we have any correspondence on this?
Yes, Chairman, we do have correspondence. So we have a memo from the zoning division dated December 5th, 2022, stating that the subject property located at 1170 Hicksville Road, Massapequa, New York, 11758, has a Nassau County land and tax map designation of 52-503, Lot 24, and is located within the NB Neighborhood Business Zoning District. We have a memo from the Department of Environmental Resources dated August 29th, 2023, classifying this project as Type 2 for the purposes of seeker. We have a memo from the Code Enforcement Bureau dated December 7th, 2022, stating there are no open code cases on the subject property. Chairman, since this memo is dated, the Planning Division contacted the Code Enforcement Bureau this week, and there are currently no open code violations. We have memos from the Town Department of Public Works Highway Division dated December 9th, 2022, and the Engineering Division dated February 28th, 2023, stating they have reviewed the site plans and have no objections. We have a highway work permit from New York State DOT dated May 15th, 2023. We have a memo from the Nassau County Planning Commission dated September 29th, 2023, recommending local determination for this project. We have a memo from the Planning Division dated August 29th, 2023, stating that the required parking for the subject property is 36 spaces and 20 have been provided. We have a memo from the Planning Division dated August 29th, 2023, stating that the division has conducted a review in accordance with Chapter 246, Section 6, Site Plan Review of the Code of the Town of Oyster Bay, and is referring the site plan to the Planning Advisory Board for appropriate action. And we have the affidavit of sign posting and the affidavit of mailing from the applicant.
Thank you. Anyone on this application?
Yeah, what are the hours of operation for the
Yes.
studio?
So the hours of operation are Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 10 p.m., and then on weekends, 7 a.m. to 5 p.m.
Saturday and Sunday?
Saturday and Sunday. Oh, sorry, not Sunday,
Not
closed on
Sunday.
Sundays.
Now, what was that, 7 to 7?
7 to 5
7 to
on
5.
Saturday.
The lighting, the hours of the lighting, is it going to be cut off at a certain hour, or?
As Oyster Bay Code requires, all lights will be shut off within 1 hour closing of the business. That's standard with code.
Yeah, especially the ones that are on the rear and the side of the building, actually on the side, that face the residential homes. We want to make sure that they either go off or they're shielded, not to go into the yards.
Right, those are sharp cutoff wall packs. It's really just a light above, the entrances out there. Again, those will comply with all lighting codes within the town.
Is there any plans for the second floor? I know you have some space available on the second floor.
I have the owner here with me, Mr. Park. Maybe he can, is there any
Can you come
plans
up?
for this? Maybe you want to come up and just address that.
Right now, we're just going to use
Can you,
this.
can you give us your
Name
name and
and-
address?
Oh,
please?
sorry. Edward Park, 1170 Hicksville Road.
Okay,
Yes, we're going to just, as of right now, the plans, we're using the upstairs just for storage.
just for storage?
Yeah, just for storage.
Okay. And you're martial arts?
Yes, Taekwondo. Taekwondo.
Taekwondo? And how many people do you normally have in a group or whatever?
It varies on the season, but you could, anywhere from 10 to 15
Okay. And children
children and families.
Children come with their parents?
Yes.
Their parents stay? Or parents drop them
Most
free?
drop off. If they just sign up brand new, they'll stay, but for the most part, pretty much drop
And
off.
that's about the same amount of clients,
Yes, sir.
children or adults?
Yes, sir. Well, more kids than adults.
Are you the sole primary, I don't want to say practitioner, it sounds like a doctor, but the teacher?
Yeah, yes.
Yeah,
I have
okay.
a few instructors too, but yes,
Okay.
I'm the head.
Okay. I don't have anything else.
James, anybody? No? Okay, anyone wish to speak on this application?
Thank you.
And you have anything else to say? No?
Nope.
Okay, with that, we'll call for a vote, Mr. Brown? Well, or a motion, sorry. Motion on this application?
I'll make a motion that we approve the application as, somebody want to speak?
Oh, did you want to speak on it?
They asked for questions
Oh.
if you want to say anything.
My name is Albert P. Claps. I'm at 4130 Bayberry Lane, just around the corner. My property faces right into the property at 1170 Hicksville Road. My concern is the buffering that may be potentially removed that we presently have from the arborvitaes that are presently there. I'd like to know how tall these new ones are going to be when they're placed into the ground and how tall they're going to be in a few years, because I do want to preserve the buffering, the little bit of buffering that we have right now.
Okay, let's take, got an answer?
So just to answer that, the arborvitaes, which is the bulk of the screening, those will be installed at 5 to 6 feet in height. Obviously, arborvitaes will grow in, they're placed 6 feet off center and get much larger than that. That's just the installed height. is 5 to 6 feet.
So do you have any there that are currently
Can you,
good?
can you just bring up the planting plan?
Sure.
And have the gentleman point out where his concerns are?
Do you have any arborvitae
Can
that
you
are...
just point out, sir, can you just point out where your concerns are, where the arborvitae is that you're talking about now?
Oh.
Hicksville Road is on your left.
Yeah.
On your right, I'm sorry.
Correct. This is north, this is west.
Right, and then it's Dogwood Lane is down below.
Okay. We're talking, this is the first, I'm right here. We're talking about the arborvitaes that are presently in this region right here, which have grown since 2019, when they were small, into a rather high bush as they are now, just beginning to provide us with some privacy from Hicksville Road and from the property behind us. I'm just concerned that these new plants that are put in, I know they're not going to be put in as giants to begin with, but I'm hoping that in a few years they will become giants, as you say they are. They're called giants. They will not stunt at 6 or 7 feet, but rather grow to 8 or 9 or 10 feet, which would be satisfactory.
Okay.
10 years.
Huh?
So if you have current arborvitae that are doing the job, is it possible to keep them?
Absolutely, and I did speak to my client, I think, before the hearing, that we'd be open to
I mean,
maintaining any
why,
arbor...
why rewrite the book if you have
Right.
Yeah, just
established...
supplement
Yeah.
around it, but leave what's there.
Right, so again, the intent is to screen the parking area. If there's rows of arborvitaes, we can keep those, plant the new ones in front of it, make sure that there's no...
And stagger them possibly,
overgrowing.
yeah.
Right, right. So maybe we make that as a note that, any healthy existing arborvitae will be maintained. I know one of the comments from planning was to clean up the landscaping. We'll make sure if it's a healthy arborvitae and it's screening the neighbor, we can keep it.
Will there be a sprinkler system in there to maintain the watering of these things? Because 2 years ago, we had a very bad drought, and a few of them on the south side had died due to a lack of water. So I'm hoping that there's going to be a sprinkler system to maintain these plants in the event of another drought.
Okay, answer?
Oyster Bay requires you to have irrigation to all plantings, so yes. there will.
Okay. Okay, is that, that covers your, does that cover your concerns?
And
Because,
just one more thing, a sprinkler system inside the building in the event of a fire so that we don't get touched by the fire.
It's old.
It's a very old building.
Very
Also
old
required by, the building department requires it, but yes, the
Awesome.
building will be sprinkled.
Awesome.
okay, we made you happy? Okay.
Very.
Okay, good. No, that's, I mean, if they're there and they're established, then
Right.
work around them if you know.
Right,
Okay. All right?
understood.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we'll go with the motion now, Lou.
I'll make a motion that we accept the plan as proposed and presented, subject to the maintenance of any healthy arborvitae or any other healthy, good specimen plantings that are on the site, with the additional new plantings to be installed,
Understood.
And the irrigation is already in.
and
in
an
the
irrigation
package.
system.
Right.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Second. Okay, call the roll.
Okay, on the motion by Member Warner, seconded by Member Di Leonardo. Chairman Stanko.
Aye?
Member Di Leonardo. Aye. Member Tribino.
Aye.
Member Warner.
Aye.
Member Castellane.
Aye.
Member Byrne is aye, Chairman. The motion passes.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
and
Have a good
Thank
evening.
you for your comments.
Thank you.
Is the applicant available if these close-by neighbors have any concerns or,
We had a brief discussion before the hearing, I think.
okay,
We met already twice, I think.
okay. All right, good, thank you. We have another, you want to just step outside? Thank you. Okay. Okay, second agenda item. I'm not sure how to say that name, Peter. Dr. Michael,
Amoshi.
thank you. 340,
I'm Washi.
okay. 346 South Oyster Bay Road, Syosset, New York, 11791. The applicant is seeking a site plan approval from the Planning Advisory Board in accordance with the town's site design standards. The application involves, in addition to expand the existing medical office and the existing apartment with associated site improvements. This application will require town board approval for the proposed modifications to the existing restrictive covenants, which is subject to a public hearing following the Planning Advisory Board meeting. The proposed use for the subject property is a permitted use pursuant to Chapter 246, Table 5.2 of the Code of the Town of Oyster Bay.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. My name is Peter Moore. I'm the attorney for Dr. Amwashi, the applicant herein. Also here this evening, we have Dr. Amwashi to be able to discuss any aspects of the practice, and Brian Lynch, the architect on the project. I just received some green cards. They're very slow lately, so I'm just going to hand them up if that's okay.
And before you start, I'll ask Secretary Byrne if we have any correspondence.
We do. Yes, we have a memo from the zoning division dated March 10, 2023, stating the subject property located at 346 South Oyster Bay Road, Syosset, New York, 11791, has a Nassau County land and tax map designation of Section 12, Block 366, Lot 56, and is located within the RO Residence Office zoning district. We have a memo from the Department of Environmental Resources dated July 6, 2023, classifying this project as a Type 2 for the purposes of seeker. We have a memo from the Code Enforcement Bureau dated March 14, 2023, stating there are no open code cases on the subject property. Chairman, since the memo is several months old, the Planning Division contacted the Code Enforcement Bureau this week, and there are currently no open code violations. We have a memo from the Town's Department of Public Works, Highway Division dated March 14, 2023, and Engineering Division dated May 15, 2023, stating they've reviewed the site plans and have no objections. We have email correspondence from William Nimmo, Deputy Commissioner, Nassau County Department of Public Works, dated June 20, 2023, stating that the project is not subject to further review under General Municipal Law 239F. We have a memo from the Nassau County Planning Commission dated September 29, 2023, recommending local determination for this project. We have a memo from the Planning Division dated August 31, 2023, stating the required parking for the subject property is 9 spaces, and 4 spaces have been provided. We have a memo from the Planning Division dated August 31, 2023, stating that the division has conducted a review in accordance with Chapter 246, Section 6, Site Plan Review of the Code of the Town of Oyster Bay, and is referring the site plan to the Planning Advisory Board for appropriate action. And we have the affidavit of sign posting and the affidavit of mailing from the applicant.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Mr. Moore?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So as Mr. Burns said, we're at 346 South Oyster Bay Road, Section 12, Block 366, Lot 56 on the Nassau County land and tax maps. It is the RO Residence District Zone. There are a bunch of RO District properties designated on that area. There's ours, and then there's a little gap, and then there are 7 or 8 more in a row. It also appears that the business district dips into across the street as well, and it borders on, I guess that's the R17 zone right behind. So the subject application is for site plan approval, and then we're bringing the declaration to amend the restrictive covenants in front of the town board. I don't know if the board wants me to go into the restrictive covenants tonight and discuss those and what's being changed, or just do the site plan.
Something? You could stick with the site plan.
Just stick with site plan? Okay. So basically, this is an existing doctor's office and apartment. And what we're doing is, there's an expansion of really both floors, an expansion of the doctor's office. It's a split-level house, so you really have, there are very low 7-foot ceilings everywhere. So looking to make it into a 2-story dwelling, with the apartment completely upstairs and the doctor's office completely downstairs. We are keeping the restriction that is in the covenants that there will be only one doctor on site and one non-medical person working at the premises. We will require one variance, as Mr. Byrne pointed out. The current building actually, under current code, is non-compliant, would probably require 6 spots. Right now, with the expansion, it would require 9 spots, and we have 4 spots the way it will be currently configured. I actually have some photographs that I'd like to hand up. The copies didn't come out great, so I'm going to hand up one set if that's okay. It shows the northbound view up the street, the southbound view, the subject property, and some of the other properties that are nearby that are also RO district. I'm going to bring up Mr. Lynch in a second to discuss the site plan, but I just really want to get into the issue of the parking and Dr. Amwashi's practice. As far as the parking variance and the intensity of the use, Dr. Amwashi is a neurologist, right? He deals mostly with Alzheimer's patients and dementia patients. Very low-intensity practice. Patients are there for a long time. He only sees 1 to 2 patients at a time. So we're really not concerned about the parking. In addition, there's street parking there that really isn't used by anyone else. I was there midday today. Nothing was used. There are a good 6 spots in front of our property and up to the no parking beyond this point sign. At this point, I'll just bring Brian up to discuss the site plan.
I don't think so.
Question?
I don't think there's any street parking there on South Oyster Bay Road.
Yeah, there actually is, Mr. Leonardo, right there. There's a no parking sign that goes from about 6 spots up to the corner, but there is parking there. Directly in front of the building.
Good evening, I'm Brian Lynch.
Just one second,
Oh,
we're
sure.
just looking at, okay. And what about
So if you
these?
look at the southbound, the one that says southbound,
This is
that's the subject property.
This
That's
is the
correct.
subject property. And this is southbound, okay.
So southbound,
And
I
what
think
else?
my car's parked there
Okay.
right now, so, in that picture.
And this one, that's yours parked there?
That's my car parked
Okay.
there, yeah. So as far, one of the reasons I showed both those images is to show the sight lines. Really, you
What's,
Go
okay,
ahead.
what's this one?
So that's one of the other ones that's in the property. So in case there are any questions about, some of the
Oh, these are
ones.
samples of other,
It's a sample of one of the other ones that's in the neighborhood.
okay.
So I really want to show the pictures to show the sight line coming out of the lot, so that you can see that really there's a clear shot down the south and to the north, really as far as you can see. There are no turns in the road at that point, and really it's a straight shot. But at this point, I'll bring up Mr. Lynch.
Hi,
Okay.
good evening. I'm Brian Lynch, 126 Atlantic Avenue, Lynbrook, New York, 11563. I work with John Chimenti, architect of record. So this is an RO zone, so it's a residence office, and it's supposed to look more residential than business, but have a doctor and a residence in the facility. So we're keeping to that tone in both the bulk of the building and the design, to modernize his building for a modern practice. It was done many years ago for a time when you didn't need as much equipment as you do now for what he does. So the expansion that we're doing program-wise is the same amount of rooms, they're just bigger because he needs more equipment. And the same amount of patients, everything on the restrictive declaration is going to remain the same. We kept the parking the way it was approved. It's basically a long driveway. And there was 3 tandem spaces that were approved with one to the side. The only thing we're going to do site-wise is expand the one space to become a handicap accessible space, to have a dead spot for unloading next to it. We upgraded the landscape to be much more decorative than what is now just a lawn, to be an all-season annual, decorative, more wildflower look, to keep the sight lines, not to block anything from the street. We kept all the perimeter planting per town code. And everything else was, the rear yard is going to be used for the apartment. That's upstairs. It's still going to be a two-bedroom with a study, which it is now. So essentially, we're turning a split-level home that the garage was converted into a legal doctor's office into basically what's going to look like a nice modern two-family home with the doctor's practice solely being at the first floor. If you have any questions.
That's it?
Yeah.
You know, the parking gives me a lot of concerns. I mean, you're saying one residential parking space. I don't know any family, and I mean, I'm assuming it's going to be a family. I couldn't see a single person renting all of that space with 3 bedrooms or...
I'll let the doctor speak to who's going to be living there because he owns the building, which could help.
I mean, every family has at least 2 cars, the husband and the wife. And, it's nice that you have the parking for the doctor and his employee along the side of the building. But what happens if, let's say that the tenant works at night? Is he going to park there? And how's the doctor going to get in?
Sure. No, I understand. So, Mr. Warner, right now, there's the apartment currently there, 3-bedroom apartment. So we're not adding an apartment. It's already there. The parking requirement per code, you're well aware, is 1 spot per residential unit. So we're not increasing any of the intensity with regard to the apartment use. Really, we're making the rooms a little bit bigger from what they were, but it's still a 3-bedroom apartment. Dr. Amwashi will speak to it, but he does have intention of occupying the space. He actually hopes to be semi-retired, I believe, and will be working mostly 4 days. His current practice is in Brooklyn, and he wants to have a practice out here so that for his Long Island patients. So really, the intensity of the practice versus what was there before, you had a podiatrist's office. And podiatrists, they have their exam rooms filled, and they turn people over pretty quickly. So this is not that type of practice. You can have a practice where you have the Doppler in one room to do the carotid artery. You're going to have another room where you have, they're going to do the EEG, the nerve conduction testing. So really what happens in a practice like this is you have one patient, and typically he's going to be with the one doctor for the whole time he's there, which over the course of an hour, we're looking at 1, maybe 2 patients that will be there over the course of an hour. So you're not talking about your typical doctor's office. Dr. Mwashi is a specialist. I'll let him get into that if you want him to discuss that. He does Alzheimer's research. And really, the building as currently constituted, not ADA compliant. It's very difficult to get into the building. This will make, and obviously when you're dealing with Alzheimer's patients and dementia patients, it's all the more important that you have proper access and the proper facilities. So as far as parking, we think actually the parking situation will be better with Dr. Mwashi there than it was with a podiatrist.
One other item I just want to bring up, the restrictive declaration on the property has a strict timeline of when the doctor can operate his business. It's not a late-night business. It's basically a 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, closed on Sunday. So we're going to maintain that on the restrictive declaration. This is not going to be something...
You're not going to be changing that?
No.
So just I'll get into that briefly. I know we said we wouldn't, but really the only 2 things that are changing from the restrictive, that we're requesting a change to the restrictive declaration are there was a restriction on the increase in size of the residential unit. So obviously we're increasing it somewhat. So that is one of the changes. And then the size of the building, right? So they had a specific size of the building. They basically approved it according to the plans that they had at the time. And they said, anything you want to do beyond this, you have to come back. So those are the only 2. Everything else, as far as hours, were approved in the declaration and will remain. The employees, there are 11 or 14 of them, and 2 we're looking to modify.
I mean, myself and another member of the board were there today. Well, at least I was there today. I don't know when Cliff was there. But South Oyster Bay Road is a going road all the time. And I mean, to be backing out onto South Oyster Bay Road, you could sit there for a while. I mean, I parked down the street, and when I went to get out of the shopping center, I waited like 5 minutes before it was, I mean, so.
So if I could address that, Mr. Warner, so I specifically pulled into the lot, right, into the driveway at the house. So what happens when you back out, and you can see it in the northbound picture, there's a light that's just right by the temple. And you have other opportunities, but when that light changes, you can easily pull out. You do have the little parking area there as well, but you do, of course, have to back out into the road there. But that's the current condition there. That's the way it was approved already. So we're not, unfortunately, we don't have anywhere to put parking, right? So we thought about putting parking in the rear, but the code requires in the RO district that the rear remain planted and as use for the tenant, for the residential tenants. So that was an original plan, that was out. So really, there's nowhere to put any parking, there's nowhere to really turn around on this lot. And it was approved this way, right? So the idea was always the backing out. Like I said, I was there at 12:15 today. So I parked in the lot, I pulled out, I drove around actually because I wanted to see the other properties. I came back around, I parked in again, and I did it twice without incident, thank God. So, and it was clear. So when the light changes, you have, it's quite a distance to the light, and you have a lot of time to be able to pull out. Can you pull out, and where you park down the road further, it's actually worse. There are no lights there, because I was actually parked there, and I had to wait longer to pull out from my parallel park situation than it did for me by the light to pull out backwards. Yes, Mr. Tribuna.
Known it for that section for a long period of time. Just even going there to inspect it, it comes up on you quickly, and I was only able to turn into Plaza Gate to park. The traffic there is excessive. To think of someone backing out into it is a really added hazard. I won't even. I tried to cross the street, which I did. It's very dangerous. Again, I'm concerned that to begin with, it was approved. Still had limited parking at that time. It was approved, but it's there. And I'm sure Dr. Vashi's practice is excellent, but he might not be the tenant there as the next tenant if it's sold, if it's prepared. And that you've established now a continuous product that has limited parking.
So we're not establishing that. It was established already a long time ago.
As it exists.
As it exists,
Now it's-
right?
now it's-
And approved by the town board.
At the time, I agree with that. But now we're looking at a totally different structure that in the future could be used as a higher occupancy rate or numbers than that. Even though there's a restriction to number of cars to spaces, we know what happens, and it's happened down the road.
So there's also a restriction with regard to the number of employees. So there's a covenant that says specifically, one doctor, one non-medical employee. So there really isn't, you'd be violating your resolutions, and town board can invalidate the whole RO zone use, the special use that was given back then if you violated that covenant. Look, right now, I understand the board's concern. I've been before this board, I've been from many boards. I speak honestly when I say that I pulled out without incident today in the middle of the day. However, this is an approved use already, right? It's already approved for a doctor's office. It's already approved for an apartment. So all we're doing is we're modernizing it, not having 7-foot ceilings, making it so that elderly patients can get in comfortably. Yes, there's an increase in the apartment size, but that's a one-space situation. Only the size of the rooms, because it's still a 3-bedroom apartment. So really, it's 2 right now?
What are you going to do with the study?
2-bedroom with a study, I apologize.
There's 3 bedrooms.
3 bedrooms and a study.
We have 3 bedrooms. 3 bedrooms and a study, and it's currently a 3-bedroom as well.
It's currently 3 bedrooms?
Yeah, yes. It's currently a three-bedroom, it's still a three-bedroom. There's an open study that's on the first floor, and that was added really because of the space that was added underneath. The only change to the building, it's an L-shaped back of the building, right? So really, they filled out that corner, both stories. You're not going further towards the side yards, not going further towards the rear yards. Really, you made the building a rectangle versus that it was like obviously L-shaped before.
Does the doctor, working with Alzheimer's and such like that, are there any vans that come, handicap vans for wheelchair people or something like that, that might be coming from an assisted living or something like that? I mean,
Usually no.
You want to come up and state
Your name and address,
okay?
My name is Dr. Michael Marshall. I'm a neurologist and neuroradiologist specialized in dementia patient with memory problems. I practice in private neurology and I'm on the faculty at Weill Cornell Columbia University. My primary interest of research is the neuroimaging of patients with predominant Alzheimer's disease, but different type of dementia, corticobasal, PSP, and so on. Latest work that we published and proud of was MRI PET scan algorithm for all the neuroradiologists in the United States. I hope in the world, some of them, the guidance, the algorithm, how to diagnose different type of dementia from Alzheimer. How to diagnose Alzheimer, and the MRI PET scan is quite specific for this type of findings. These are the elderly people. Occasionally you'll have a younger person. The first patient who I lost Alzheimer presented to the Society of Psychiatrists in Germany was a 56-year-old female. So I do have some cases, quite young people in 60s. MRI PET scan was now approved by Medicare as one of the testing to prove the Alzheimer's disease. I see these patients, and you have to spend a lot of time. Another tool to diagnose Alzheimer's is to perform electroencephalogram, which was approved recently by Medicare as a standard diagnostic test, which was not reimbursed before and is reimbursed now, and was approved by Medicare. What the test is showing, you're not looking for seizures in this patient, but you're looking for slowing of the brain activity in the hippocampal area of the brain, temporal, mesotemporal area, which are very diagnostic. It's pointing to diagnosis of Alzheimer's disease. And you're well aware, we have some hope there. The new medication, Leqembi, was approved in December last year, and it's available for twice a month infusion for these patients. So hope is there, 37% of some improvement with even some reverse symptoms, which is outstanding, and a small percentage of patients are there. So my practice is, first of all, I'm not planning to rent the apartment upstairs. I'm planning to stay there myself. When I'll get tired, I'll go upstairs and I'll have a rest and I'll have a cappuccino. And I'll go back to see another patient. It's my dream because I live in Long Island and the commute got to me. I'm getting semi-retired there. I'm 68-year-old and I feel driving in traffic for 2 hours is getting me there. I'm very tired. Second day, 5 o'clock, I have to leave the house and drive all the way. I used to be on the faculty here at Albert Einstein, working at North Shore and Long Island Jewish on the faculty and practice in the Lake Success. So I left in 2004, I joined Cornell. So there is still a pool of patients who, a majority are with dementia, multiple sclerosis, chronic degenerative nervous system disease. They still travel all the way to Brooklyn or see me in Bensonhurst area, which is not very convenient for this patient. So they are begging me, Dr. Marshall, when are you coming to Long Island, please? The office hours, I'm very familiar with COVID restriction, and we basically, as my attorney already mentioned, we are not changing any of this restriction except for the parking and making the building a little bit larger. So the office, 3 exam rooms, I need the basic office space to be able to operate nicely and see my patients.
Why you need 3 exams? Explain why you need 3 exams.
One patient, I examined a patient, let's say the patient will require to have a test. I'm also specialized in neurovascular neurology. The person, Cornell, gave me a task in November 2004, to open the stroke center at Brookings Hospital. So I was the chairman of neurology there. So since 2004 to 2009, I opened the stroke center, 500-bed hospital, and I was the one to open the stroke center and work very hard for 2 years. So I do the carotid Doppler to see if we don't have a vascular. Sometimes you have a vascular dementia because of atherosclerosis, diabetes, and you perform a carotid, see a plaque there, patient needs an operation. It's an easy test, very informative. The machine is large. I have a Siemens Redwood. It's a stationary unit, so you need a separate exam room just for the vascular, where I do transcranial Doppler to assess if you have an intracranial stenosis. And this day we have at Cornell, at Columbia, as institution, we have interventional neuroradiologists who are doing wonders. So that it was unthinkable before, going with a small catheter through the femoral artery and do the balloon angioplasty for intracerebral vessel, and you're preventing and saving a patient from a major stroke, saving his life, basically. So I need a neurovascular one exam room. I need a second room for EEG. I need a conference room. Sometimes you have to bring the news to the family. So in the conference room, family is coming, and you give them the news, sometimes to the patient. The treatment approved is only for the MCI, mild cognitive impairment, or first phase of Alzheimer's disease. It's not done in moderate or severe stages. So you explain to the family and bring this news to the family. Sometimes it's not very pleasant, so you need to discuss with them to bring it carefully and so on, and explain the care and what might happen, the progression of the disease, give them all the support and so on. So if you have any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer them regarding to the nature of my practice.
Did you say that you, in the beginning, I thought I heard you say that you were going to be residing or using the apartment upstairs?
Yes, definitely. I'll occupy the residency, the whole dwelling there. I'm not planning to rent where I don't want people running above my head there when I'm practicing. There is no need for that.
Okay. I don't know if we have the right to do it, but would you be willing to accept a condition of our approval?
I will.
That
Owner-occupied, yes.
That you be the one to be
Yes, I will.
residing or
Yes,
using
I
the
will.
apartment?
Yes.
And it wouldn't be rented to an outside party?
Absolutely.
You know.
I have no problem with that, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that gives me a little more comfort, because then, based upon what you said, with the number of people that you see, you know, and we wouldn't have the problem with the resident upstairs having two cars or, you know, or whatever.
No.
So if you're willing to make that condition of approval, then we
Yes.
might be able to move forward. So, I don't know if anyone has any.
Let me just switch to refuse.
Yes, Mr.
From all of
Chairman. Please.
your specialty, and we thank you for all that you do in this field, let me tell you.
Thank you.
But the garbage, it'll be garbage pails in that tough box, and they'll be brought out to the street. How is that going to work?
Yes, so you want to come up, Ron?
Yeah, we put a commercial grade trash enclosure in the back, one for residents.
Which is very substantial, the way we're looking at it,
Yeah, I
yeah.
mean, it's overkill, but you have recycle bins and you have garbage bins.
So then it'll be just stored there.
Sure, right, in these containers, and then they can be brought out to the street through, there's a walkway behind the whole building and down the driveway, or you can possibly go around this way. But it's easy access from the apartment unit, and there is a side door to the second exit to the practice, which is on this side as well. So rubbish is just gonna come through this way to throw out, and then they gotta wheel it out to the street, down the drive, so.
Brian, do you know how much square footage was added to the office? Is it just the 257?
So the square footage added to the office?
Well, the 257 is the bulk that's added to this for 2 floors. So the office originally is just about half of the building. It was about 900 square feet, and we're basically doubling the office size.
So,
There was a basement below, it's a split level, so we're raising the floor of the basement, and he's gonna dig out, so he has a storage basement below. So this whole floor at grade is the doctor's practice, entered from here, and then the second floor is above.
and some of the main floor was the apartment as well before?
Right, it was staggered,
So-
so the apartment on this, the left side of the house was the lower level of the split level, and then they had the upstairs above.
So there was residential downstairs as well, now it's
Right.
going to be just the doctor's office plus the additional space?
Yeah, what I was getting at is, I know code is code, but in a practical sense, if the doctor's gonna live upstairs and be the doctor practicing downstairs, in a practicality matter, you almost wouldn't need the additional parking space for the apartment, which would save you 1 parking space. So I'm trying to figure out how much additional parking you're adding with the office to see what the final number would be.
So I don't think it's his intention to live there all the time, right? I think it's a convenience for him to be able to be there, go up there, stay, if he's doing research, et cetera, and be in the apartment, because he has a home nearby, obviously. So that's not his intention. So what I think we'd be okay with is a restriction, the doctor's okay with. I'm not a big fan of restrictions, but the doctor's okay with a restriction that it be limited to him and his family. Him or his family, I should say.
Mr. Byrne, I also perform a lot of teleradiology and teleneurology these days, which is, I'm reading remotely MRI studies of the brain performed at different facilities in different states, and I email the report or download the report. So I'm planning to have in a study room upstairs, have a teleradiology and a room for reading their studies, and I'm planning to use it for my personal use, not to rent. And I already agree, mentioned that it has to be owner occupied for any activity there,
As-
increased tenants or anything else.
And as the board is aware, that's a significant restriction, so if it would have to be changed, we'd have to go back, a future purchaser would have to go back to the town board and request that change, and they'd have to come here as well, before going to the town board.
Well, that's why I'm looking for some restriction as to the use of the second floor.
So the doctor's okay with the restriction,
Okay.
so that it be restricted to his and his family's use.
Okay.
Again, the use is already there. You just have a really bad building for the use, right? You have a doctor's office that, look, no one wants to walk into a 7-foot ceiling, right? That's just a thing that doesn't exist anymore, right? No one would build, well, first of all, it's not code, but it was code, so that's what's funny, right? So the building's actually not to code, but it's to code because it pre-exists, it's before current code. So we're actually putting in a space that we're making somewhat, a little larger, right? But functional, right? And you bring the building up to code, to a building that's really not up to code, right? You have a doctor's office that's not ADA compliant, you can't get the patients in there. I'm sure it had to be an issue with the podiatrist, so I know if my feet bother me, I have trouble getting into places, so.
I had one more thing for
Sure, Mr. Byrne.
Brian.
Sure.
Is there a possibility to get 1 additional parking space on the site? I mean, looking at the site, if I'm not disabled and I don't have a New York State disabled, accessible parking pass, I can't park on the site. So if I were to take, say, my father here, knock on wood, I would have to park off-site if I didn't have the...
Yeah, on the street now, we went through many different renditions of this with Nassau County Public, and we sat with them, Mark Pilata and I, site engineer, and Nassau County took an exception to changing this parking configuration into a parking lot as opposed to a driveway. So this is configured like a driveway. You pull in tandem, and you pull in and you pull out. Once you change direction, which would be the only way we would be forced to add another car to this thing, would be to make a 90-degree turn or something like that. They viewed it as a parking lot, and then they would not give us access because of one curb cut, because of the proximity of having a car parallel to the county road. You had to have a buffer for that. We couldn't get it to work. And we tried the rear yard, that wouldn't work with the restrictive declaration. And then that would have triggered the 239 because of the paving anyway, but the restricted declaration doesn't allow us to use the rear yard. So I tried many different ways, and
Right, there are two spots though, right? There's the third tandem spot and the handicap spot. So there is one
There's 4 spaces and a dead
non-handicap
spot.
spot. So you have the two tandem spots, and then you have the one spot, that's the third spot, that's free, and the handicap spot to the left. So there is the one handicap spot and then the one non-handicap spot.
where if somebody had to come in quick to drop somebody off, they do have that room to do that, because a handicap spot isn't going to be used all that often by somebody with a placard, especially with the frequency of his patients. He's, more of a one-to-one with his exam rooms having specialty units in each one, as opposed to it just being packed with people waiting.
The parking space alongside the handicap parking space, but that's a resident parking space,
That's
correct?
the dead spot, that's the unloading for the handicap.
No, I mean, to the top of the plan, where I don't see the north arrow. To the north of the accessible parking space.
Okay. Right, it's 3 tandem, which was.
And the last one is resident.
Is to the left, correct, yeah. No, the first one is doctor all the way up, the employee is the middle, the resident is closest to the street.
Which is 3, and then parking space 4.
Is the handicap.
So that's what, yeah.
So that's what I'm
Patient-
saying,
patient parking.
if you're not,
Yeah.
handicapped, you're not parking on the site.
So obviously, we could mandate that the employee park on the street. It's not, obviously, we could do that. Again, this plan is better than what's there now, which was already approved this way. So we're, other than, we're only adding a parking issue with regard to square footage, not as far as use. We're not going to have more cars there than the podiatrist have. We're going to have fewer cars than we had the podiatrist. Because of the type of practice.
And if he's going to be the resident, could he be doctor/resident parking spot?
Well-
And then have the other one for open?
Right,
When we
one
go
of
to
the
zoning
spots would
board,
potentially open up, right?
You can make that case. to the
Well,
zoning
because
board.
there is no other tenant, right? So if there's no other tenant there, there's nobody parking in one of the spots. So you'll have the spot that's marked, really, let's call it the third outside spot, the one that's the last spot where you can actually pull off the lot would not be occupied. So you'd still have the 2 spots. You'd have the handicap spot and that third tandem spot. And again, those 3 tandem spots, that was done with approval of the town board. Yes, Mr. Tribuna, sorry.
How many employees are there? Will there be
You're only allowed to have one.
just the one?
Yeah, you're only allowed to have one, and he only needs one. So he only needs one administrative staff, because the type of practice that it is, it's really one-on-one. They're not taking blood, they're not doing stuff like that.
That's,
And that's a condition, you should have the restrictive covenants. If you want, I can hand them up, but that's a restrictive covenant. One doctor, one non-medical employee. It's pretty restricted. The way the town board approved this, they must have really thought out the space as far as, restricting it. But I think the doctor has a great practice. He has patients out here, would be a great addition there. As far as the building, one of the reasons I showed up some of the pictures is that because you have some really big buildings and also some really big houses in the area. This is not going to stick out at all. It's right next door to the Children's Center, which is a huge facility, and then you have the temple next door. So this is not like sticking out like a sore thumb at all, actually, unlike some of the other ones, which definitely do. And some of them have parking up in the rear. I'm not sure how they work that out. Some of the other
Brian, could you just touch, go ahead, you got another?
These are tough properties, If this came in today, I could tell you, this wouldn't be approved. So when we look at this, we know you're working with existing conditions. You've presented a great case, but we always look at it when we're intensifying,
No.
we know how this doctor's going to use it, but as Member Tribuna said, when you're putting an addition on a building, it's going to be there for a long time.
So
it's not just going to be his practice, it will be there for
Understood,
a long
but
time.
it's really against my advice that he agrees to Mr. Warner's condition, because that will severely restrict his ability to sell this property to a doctor in the future, right? And so I think by agreeing to the restriction, and if the board approves it with that restriction, I think you almost make it so that any other applicant would have to come back and ask for the restriction to be lifted, or they wouldn't be able to comply.
You want to just touch on the lighting a little bit for us?
Yeah, really just wall packs at the exits and the entry. We don't really have anything that's substantially required. We got 2 in the rear, 2 on the side, at the side entrance and here. So just basically around the direct down, it's on the first sheet on the bottom. It's just a downward beam. It's not anything that's on a pole or anything. It's just basically to see the ground as you're walking around the building.
Okay.
So.
Scott, you good? Yeah? James? Any other concerns?
No.
No, okay. Okay, thank you. Anyone wish to speak on this application?
Hi. I'm Sandy Batan at 344 South Oyster Bay Road in Syosset. Welcome to the neighborhood. They're right when they say it's an eyesore. So it's nice to have something nicer coming in. My concern is I'm the director of the Early Childhood Center there, where on any given day from 9 to 3, which is probably the time that they'll be doing construction, there's up to 40 children outside in the playground that is adjacent to the property where all of this construction is going to be. So we just want some idea of what safety plans are going to be put in place during the day while the construction is happening, and that we share a fence, and if the fence is going to be taken down at any point, then we have no fence up at our playground. And then the other thing is when we exit our property, there's a driveway adjacent to their driveway, we're only allowed to make a right. And so there might be something that needs to be put in place that when they exit, they can only make a right. Otherwise, they're going to be making a left onto South Oyster Bay Road, which is going against 2 lanes. And that's really, I just have questions about the plan, the safety for the children during construction.
Okay, we
truthfully.
got it. Legitimate concerns.
Okay.
Peter will take care of that.
Yeah, I'll address it.
Okay.
Do you live on the corner house?
I run the preschool.
Oh, yeah.
I run the preschool for the
Got it.
synagogue,
I got
so
it.
that's all.
Of course.
Thank you for coming and speaking,
Oh, of
and nice
course.
meeting you.
Nice to
Unfortunately,
meet you.
I didn't have time to come and
That's okay.
introduce myself.
We're busy and so are you.
But I
It's
can
fine.
rest assured that I will be supervising in person the renovation of this house.
Okay.
And no interference will be with the well-being of the children, the fence is not coming down, will be a
Okay.
construction fence with appropriate screening
Okay.
and dust control and everything.
Okay.
I will discuss with you on a daily basis if you have any concern.
You know,
And we'll be super careful.
Thank you. I
super
know.
careful.
I know that the intent to be safe is always
Exactly.
there. But I'm responsible for the children and the families. And
We
I
got-
need to
We
be able to
understand.
Yes.
explain
We
to
understand.
them that if they're taking care of a roof and a piece of roof goes flying into our playground,
No, that will be, all the
well, that
precaution will be
can
taken
happen.
care
I
of.
mean, we've had construction at our building too. And so I know that things happen and that's just our concern.
Okay,
We're
Well,
not
if you
trying to
have-
stop it from happening.
thank you.
If you have any concerns during the course of the construction, please don't hesitate to call the town, building department, and they will send somebody out there to address your concerns.
Okay.
I'm happy to give my
Okay.
number, I'm
Peter?
happy to give my
Oh,
number as
that's a
well.
good that's a
Yeah,
good
That's
idea.
great.
I'll give you my number as well. You
All
can
right.
reach out to me. It's
For
not a
now-
problem.
For safety issues.
For now, let's see what he has to say.
Okay.
Okay.
So obviously, the town has very strict requirements with regard to fencing and construction. So we would comply with that and probably, do even more than that to be able to make sure that it stays a safe area. Most of the I want to say most of the construction, because obviously there's going to be cosmetic changes to the outside, but really, it's the other corner of the building that's getting the excavation and the 2 stories, right? So that's really where we're adding. Everything else will be, some outside cosmetic renovations, et cetera. So the majority of the work will be done on the opposite corner from the school.
And fencing?
Fencing as required by town code, obviously
Okay.
completely fenced off. You can't have a construction area without fencing around the property, is my understanding. Is that correct, Mr. Byrne? That's correct. So it would be pursuant to code, and if the school had any issues, I will give them my number so that they can reach out to me, and I will discuss it directly with my client.
Okay. And the other thing she mentioned, I'll bring it up, is the right turn. I don't know. I'm just mentioning that because the principal mentioned, your
It's up to you.
principal over there?
Do you have any more questions?
The principal mentioned it. I don't know, is there
Maybe
anything,
Brian can come up and explain the traffic
Brian?
situation.
Do I stay?
traffic? No.
No, I mean, I can sit.
Oh, you can stand or sit, whatever you want to do.
Sit, relax.
Wherever you come.
Had another question?
Well, it was, the right turn only was mentioned. Now, I don't know if that'll help, or, I don't know. I'm mentioning it because it was, because,
Out of the parking lot,
she,
I'll
yeah,
address it.
okay.
No,
all
I'll
right.
address it. So, we have no objection to no left turn out of that lot. So I don't see how you'd make a left turn, to be honest with you, so.
Okay. I think
Because
that's-
what happens is,
That's suicide.
it would be, I think it's a physical impossibility, but if the board required a no left turn sign, because you're not facing the sign, right? So as it was clearly pointed out, you're backing out. So you'd be backing out, I don't know how, that'd be a crazy move. That'd be a crazy move, yes. So no, it would be only you could only head south coming out of that parking lot, absolutely.
I think you can tell, the big thing was the parking on this plan.
So,
The
yeah.
big thing
I
was,
will say one thing.
Go ahead.
The people that were there before them used our parking lot, so, and they had less spots. So this is a benefit.
can they still use you if they need it? No, no. Go ahead.
During the day, to be honest, the only thing that's really they could use a spot in the parking lot.
All right, unofficial.
So-
Go ahead.
Unofficial,
Okay.
they use
So
a spot.
I appreciate that she's attesting to the fact that the
Yeah.
podiatry practice was much more intense than our current use. Look, just to sum up, right, this is an existing use. You don't approve it, and you don't get Dr. Amoshi, right? You get some other guy coming in there, throwing in whatever he wants to throw in there, and renting it to whoever he wants, right? Because it's an approved use. It's approved with the conditions. As long as you comply with those conditions, you don't get him, you get whoever wants to be upstairs in that apartment, and you get, I don't want to denigrate any type of doctor, but whatever doctor wants to be down there that will operate in conditions that really shouldn't be operating in nowadays.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else wish to, anyone, we got it, Doc. Anyone else wish to speak on the application? Thank you. At this time, I'll entertain a motion.
Do you want to discuss before we motion?
Oh, discuss?
We can discuss.
Oh, yeah, when, inside?
No.
Oh. Any discussion on
I
that?
think with the condition of the doctor occupying the apartment and relocating,
You might as well say a little, yeah.
relocating the parking space for the resident, because he'll be the doctor and the resident to
That
the
was
street,
a-
and giving a second parking space for patrons to pull up, I think that makes it a much more palatable
Yeah,
application.
that takes a,
So I don't know what your feelings
Two
are.
patient parking spaces?
So there would be a handicap patient parking space and a regular and a regular parking space for
And then
the
he would be a
patron.
double.
Yeah.
The resident parking would come off the plan, but theoretically, if it's covenanted that the doctor has to occupy, you already have the doctor's space.
Right.
You wouldn't need that space.
Okay.
I think that, to me, that makes more palatable. I don't know how you guys feel.
Yeah.
If you guys have any thoughts.
I think that's good.
just a question. You think this facility will be open every day?
So no.
I don't think, I'm not sure.
No, so
Listening.
really, Dr. Amashi is looking to practice probably 4 days a week. That's, you know, he looks good to me, but
Okay.
he says he's been working for 45 years?
Yes,
Yeah,
45.
45
And
years.
at some
so.
time, isn't he in the hospital doing work, or?
So no, I don't
places?
think,
I do work 4 days a week currently for the past 10 years.
but you're not going to be in the hospital anymore when you come out here.
In the hospital, I do only research. I don't see patients
So
anymore. I
it's-
have my team there.
It's mostly office work.
Mostly
Okay.
office work.
All right. Lou, you?
I guess, can I just, one more thing, when you said the doctor and his family occupy the apartment.
Well, I mean, we don't want to, I mean,
are we
he,
talking
so
about
the
2, 3
doctor
kids?
the doctor's married, so we don't want it to be his wife can't come to the apartment, right? He has a disabled son.
Yes.
He has a disabled son that lives with him, disabled adult son. So, you know, we don't want to create a restriction that's absurd, right? That just doesn't make any sense at all. So when I say the doctor and his family, I mean the doctor and his family. So I don't mean, you know, we're not bringing
No, I
in the
understand. I'm
six
just trying to
ants.
get
Yeah, no, I understand.
How
So
many cars
the doctor
would
has a
be there at one
situation.
particular time?
Yeah, the doctor has a situation with an adult son that is disabled at home. He has a wife who's a doctor that does not practice anymore, and him at home. And I think you have another son?
I have another son. He is doing residency in neurology at the University of Central Florida for 2 more years, and he will follow my steps. And I'm
But he's probably not going to live here. So.
Yeah, let him live. No.
staying there.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think that was a real concern that people had.
Look,
Okay.
with the condition, it's a significantly better application than exists right now.
Okay.
No,
Go ahead.
It's like custom-made now for you, I see that, and it should be. I still can't, when you're done with it, because now we've got a bigger building, we've got the same problem with parking, I don't think anybody in the future will ever use it as well as you. That's my big concern. It shouldn't have existed the way it is today, and it makes it hard to say, you know, here's some special treatment for you, and you deserve it. I haven't voted yet, but I can see in the future this being a major problem. And that's when you have to represent the community and how this is used. The road's not going to get quieter, it's going to get busier. Turning in is hard, turning out is hard. It's a rough spot, and that's my feeling on it, so.
Mr. Jimmy, completely understand your position, but we're not creating a new use, right? The use exists. You could have this doctor there, or he can sell it to someone else that will not operate in the same way in that building that I think they would like to see improved next door. You know, it's an old split. You know, who's going to put the money into it that this doctor's going to put into it to make it into a really nice structure? Now, look, someone in the future, they might have to figure out something with the parking, or, you know, they'd have to go for a change of zone or something like that, but it really is subject to, with the restriction that Mr. Warner presented and that the doctor agrees to, you really make it, you know, this is a concern for me, you make it unsellable to a doctor that would use it in another way. That's a concern for me, in agreeing to it, but he agrees to it.
Yeah, I think that's Member Chabina's concern as well, is that it may sit vacant at one point because no one else
So
wants to
no, I mean,
purchase
it doesn't right, it doesn't have to be. I don't know what the future holds, obviously, but it could be vacant now too. So the point is, you could have a nice building, it's not going to be vacant. I think you would find someone that would want to operate in a nicely structured environment and not worry about the apartment and keep it for themselves like the doctor does. He's in a position to not have to rent the apartment. And hopefully someone else that would want to come in and buy the building or, you know, and buy the building might be in the same position. We're not talking about, you know, low income, you know, people here that need the income. I'm sure it's nice to have the income, but that's not his concern, and it might not be the next doctor's concern either. The point is he would be restricting and being able to sell it. But you do have the nice first floor to be able to use an operable first floor, 3 good exam rooms, a conference room, a reception area, that you don't have right now. So right now, to me, it's almost unusable. This would make it usable with the, obviously, the wrinkle of having the apartment upstairs that, you know, and if you have the restriction that you'd be limited. But you'd have a usable doctor's office that I'm sure many doctors would appreciate.
Okay.
We have options. We can make a motion, or we can reserve if anyone wants to think about it.
What's the theory of the board? Want a motion, or you want to
I say motion.
make a motion?
It's not going to get any worse.
No, I know. Make a motion? Scott?
I'll make a motion that, that we approve the plan as presented. Other than the changes to be made on the plan is the realignment of those spaces in the front, or relabeling of the spaces in the front.
Just the relabeling, I
That would
believe,
be
because they're not,
architect's
right.
bailiwick. And he
Yes.
would submit those plans to Mr. Byrne for approval. And that, excuse me, that with the condition that the second floor be used by the doctor for consultation or, you know, quiet area or whatever. But it would, at this time, would not be rented. It would be for the sole use of the practitioner
And his family.
and his family.
Thank you.
And
And the right turn?
yeah.
Huh?
Right turn?
Right turn only.
I don't see
I
how
don't-
we can, I mean, where are you gonna put a sign? Nobody's gonna see a sign from there.
And you're back, yeah.
You know, maybe the doctor could put a
And you're backing
sign
out.
in near the door in his office that
You
says
can-
on the inside,
you
that
can do a
says,
pavement marking.
please don't,
Oh.
when backing out, please
The
don't go,
suggestion is
don't go
is,
north or something.
Is a
Maybe
pavement marking. with
Oh,
an
maybe
arrow.
pavement
So,
marking,
okay,
yeah.
so that's fine.
Yeah,
No left turn?
Just put an arrow,
I think it alleviates
right-hand
one
turn
of the
only.
Right-hand turn
turns.
only? That's
Yeah.
fine. Not an issue.
So, well, that'll also be for the
If they
architect.
That's
back-
fine.
If they back out,
Take
they
care of
still got to go.
God, there's, no- I
Right turn
can't,
only.
you couldn't do it.
So,
That'd be some trick.
okay.
Did I get it all?
Right? Got it? All right, second on the motion.
I second it.
Okay, call the roll?
Okay, voting on the motion by Member Warner, seconded by Member Di Leonardo. Chairman Stanko.
Aye.
Member Di Leonardo.
Aye.
Member Chabina.
Opposed?
Member Warner.
Aye.
Member Castellane.
Aye.
Member Byrne is aye. Chairman, the motion passes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Motion
Thank
to
you.
adjourn?
Motion?
So moved.
I made them all, so I might as well make that one. Thank you for coming. It's good to see you.
Next time, come with an easy one, will you?
Scott, these are yours.
Good night, guys. Thank you, it's a pleasure. Peter, I'll see you soon, okay?
Brian, take care.
No, I really do. Nice presentation.
Nice to meet you in person, Gina, nice to meet you.
He just don't get the slam dunk. So, it's tough, he just doesn't exist, you know, it's, so, it's so funny, you look at it, and look at it first, you look at it, you know, you start to prepare. I start thinking to myself, I'm gonna go pay me. Because I'm a tough critic. Yeah.